So I did make my way up to the scenic Pacific Northwest to visit young Landforce, and honestly, he lives in one of the most gorgeous neighborhoods in Portland I've ever been to. So congratulations to you, brother. That shit was scenic, rustic, all at the same time.
Thank you. We love it here. It's wonderful.
I heard. Hold on, I had some questions
not be
about
named.
it, though. I had some questions about it. Yeah, you don't want the pod.
Speaking of
you know
docs,
I mean? There's what? Yeah, speaking of doxing, there's a it's
under that really big
line.
bridge with the homeless people. Just go over there and ask for Landforce and so.
No, what's
look
the
for the
line
boots
about
are.
don't talk where I'm shopping? It's going to turn into an in store. I think that's maybe it's a Pusha T line. Real quick before you tell this, I know this is from a different pod, but as I just real quick look at the books next to me here, cash-vertising, money,
or do you want to talk about copywriting? You know what I'm saying?
multipliers.
Yeah.
I'm looking over at my bookshelf.
My guy.
Hold up. Oh, this one, I have an Oren fucking trouble fucking favorite right here. Anyone who doesn't fucking know Oren in real life, he is one of my best friends on the planet. Charming, but this book really says a lot about Oren. This is for sure a book I know that Oren fucking read. The Courage to Be Disliked. Not even. Yeah. I know you know that fucking book.
That book changed my life straight up. Yeah, but genuinely, honestly, I read that book to give a quick anecdote on the Courage to Be Disliked. I fired like 40 people, and I was including. I think we Landforce. I think Landforce and I were in the we had exit parachutes, but we had to let go of a big team at this one time. This was way back. This was pre-arrival, blah, 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 blah. And it was like. I always took that stuff super seriously. And then someone recommended to me being like, look, you're going to be doing this a lot for the rest of your life. And you're also going to be managing people through this and blah, 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 blah. They're like, you should read this book. And because you won't take things as personally about it. And that book is excellent because it's just that mind state that like you're doing so much by like not asking people for the little things that they should be there for, or not holding people accountable. It's not just at work, like in your own life. And like truly, and given those, I highly recommend that book because I believe it's like a Japanese philosophy.
It is. It's by
it's the Courage to Be
Ikaro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga.
If you're one of those people that always feels like you're pleasing other people or that doesn't ever quite get what you want, then do that. Because ever since I read that book, I just essentially have gotten mostly what I want for the rest of my life.
Fuck. Okay, sorry, that was tangent. Back to Portland. Back to Mew talk. So I asked Oren about the Mew.
You like sidebarring? Oren steps outside to call James. What's the
Mew update? And I will say, I did go out in the backyard, and I was like, there's no birds, bro.
It's just full of toys.
It's like a rotting structure full of toys. What are we gonna do? In an otherwise pristine environment, like we gotta get some falcons in that shit, bro.
We gotta get some falcons. We gotta get some.
Has the corner been turned on that? I was gonna launch the propaganda campaign while I was there, but I really didn't want to get kicked out and have to stay in a hotel in Portland, which is sort of like my nightmare.
Yeah.
So tell us about the trip.
There's been no progress. So the real anecdote from Oren's trip. Let's see. I'll lead in. I'll see if I can do this justice. So, we're at the warehouse. Me, Oren, and Sean, a business associate, and it's the end of the day. 3:45, 4 o'clock. So no one else is there. That was a joke. So we're in this upstairs conference room that has 2 exits. And like 5-10 minutes before the team who's leaving had been like, hey, we're out of here, locking up. Sounds good. And we're sitting there talking. And
for context, this warehouse is a warehouse where marijuana is manufactured that has cash of marijuana at all times. Is that a fair
statement? Or may not have cash.
Yeah.
May or may not have cash.
Yeah, so some days it has cash, some days it doesn't, straight up.
Yeah. So it's a 10,000 square foot warehouse with like office build out. And so we're upstairs. So we hear this weird yell. And we all kind of like looked at each other. It was like, was that a weird yell? And I think visually confirmed that it was a weird yell. And I jumped up and I start running down the stairs. And I like kind of realized as I'm halfway down the stairs, like it may be game time, maybe walking into some shit. And so I come downstairs and there's like the office goes both ways. And I had like my phone in my hand, like right. So if I hit somebody, like I was gonna have like use the phone as part of it. And I just came, like, keeping my vision as wide as I can into the office. And there's nothing. And I'm kind of, like, looking around. I look outside. I see the team is just leaving. I'm like, okay. It's just them. I walk back upstairs. back up into the conference room, all is well. And I look out the conference room window and I see Oren coming down the back stairs with a hammer in his hand. like ready to take somebody out. And I was like, yo, we're good. It was amazing though. And I think the best part was that Sean, who I think I know a decent amount, Oren knows very well by now. This was probably Sean's first time in a room with both of us, and he witnessed us both just like jump to action to go to battle.
As soon as something went awry, we both like immediately left out of separate doors.
Boom!
You know what I think is
It's an awkward scenario to be in. It's like,
super swag about that too. Oren doesn't even fucking work there anymore, and he was like,
no, he's not a hammer.
The gang, you know what I mean? It's still fair.
But in all fairness, for everyone who's listening, right? Like I haven't really experienced it much, but when I first started becoming friends with you guys, like us talking every day, because for anyone listening, we literally talk
all day every day,
all day every day. But I mean, I remember like dispensaries and everyone was just getting robbed. I don't know if it's still happening. Remember like a year and a half ago, like everything was just getting robbed.
Oh yeah, bro. We were getting robbed,
time.
or attempted robbed, or actually robbed all the time. And it was like, and the issue is when you actually deal with people after that happens, they're like shell shocked. Especially because the stuff that happens in like Oakland,
especially in
California,
California,
really robbed at gunpoint in like the middle of the day. Like remember like watching the video feed of like, oh, it was just 10 dudes come in with guns. You got like two bartenders being like sick. Like,
but don't y'all? Didn't you guys have one security dude who was like this old Comanche, like like he was just with the hatchet on his ankle and shit, and like a machine gun.
That spot got hit like shortly after. He would be a problem because I would hop in the whip. I was like, it's like 6:30, it's dark, whatever, and he'd just pop up next to me like, hey, I was like, yo, bro, like, I'm not you fucking kidding me? I'm just gonna fucking shit out of me. Yeah, and he was just ready at all times. He was like old white dude, like definitely on that like trucker provincial like regiment. Like,
on no-dos, yeah.
Weird, just paid me.
Also, while we're here talking about fucking provincial and no-dos, shout out to one of Oren's acquaintances who I guess sent him a package.
I did get a tiny packet. Where is it? Is over here. I got
Kratom?
I did. This is a tiny bag.
Kratom.
Bag of Kratom sent them out.
It's like a muscle relaxer, right?
Some soft gels. No,
it's like effectively
a heroin alternative that also is a mood enhancer.
Yeah,
I know people that got clean from heroin off it for sure. Like, and like I have a friend of mine who got clean from heroin with it, and he'll even tell you, like, as a fucking heroin addict, be like, it'll fuck you up. You know what I mean?
A bag within a bag, brothers.
It actually is. I love it. It's actually not even legal in all states.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, no, because there's a different life. And I was actually, Oren and I were texting something last night, and he was like, man, we could just charge talking about this in some mastermind, which is true. But in a different life, I was like trying to raise money to buy this CBD company, but they were doing like $100+ million a year.
Another,
I mean, y'all know that.
This is while
not
he
the
was
Kratom
running the
connection,
doctor group.
No, but so the Kratom connection was this company was doing, and I'll
the
you guys
Kratom
will
connection,
know the
great
company.
brand name.
Say,
or band name, either one.
Band name. Like the string shoes incident. Anyway, this company was doing, we were like looking for targets for Pubcos, for shells to put in. And I met these guys at like Champs or MJ or something, you know what I mean? And they were like, yeah, we sell CBD, bro. Like we're doing 100 million in CBD sales. And I was like, damn. Anyway, after deeper digging, they were selling like $5 million of CBD and like $95 million of Kratom a year. And Kratom is, I mean, just like cannabis, I mean, it's not legal everywhere. It was not going to go. They were, you know, I mean, it was not going to go.
I have never tried it, and then it's one of those things where you Google it, and I'm like, I search it once I get it because look, shout out all of Red Pill Twitter building supplements on there. I support each and every one of you. I will hook any of you up with factories. I fully believe in what you are doing, down with the FDA, et cetera, et cetera. But and I have gotten all kinds of like fun stuff sent. But I have to Google some of this before we do it, and it's like Mayo Clinic link 1. Like, do not do this. Like seizures, liver damage, anorexia. I'm like, how does a pill cause anorexia?
Sick.
Like, isn't that more of a mental thing?
God.
Well, I had some FOMO in your guys' rendezvous up north, and that's actually, by the way, going in my note right now I had it as Oren Travels Up North, the name of this pod, but it maybe it becomes Oren and Colin rendezvous.
Oren travels to the north. I'll be down there with the whole squad mid-January.
All
You know what
right.
I'm saying?
All
They
right.
come in there,
Let's
they
do
got
it.
that orange
I'm
county,
gonna
they bought out the whole villa. You know what I'm saying? They got that villa by the ocean. You know what I mean? We're going to pick them up in the Waggy. You know what I mean? We'll strap
In the
some back,
Waggy.
you know what I mean?
In the
We'll-
Waggy.
yeah.
I gotta find the
actually,
dates real quick.
appropriate to know about Oren's Waggy is like, it seems less flex when I say this, but it actually is the more flex because he was like, yeah, man, get that for my girl. And then like the other day I saw Oren and I was like, where's the fucking G-Wagon? And I was like, you still have the 4Runner? And he's like, yeah, bro, I really bought that car from Marnie. I really bought the G-Wagon from Marnie.
The Waggy.
That's not my car. I bought the Waggy from Marnie.
The Marnie Waggy.
Money Waggy.
Marnie Waggy. So that is the flex right there. Like, it's like to
That's what
you drip
when
your
she
wife.
goes through her day doing her little blessed shit, dropping our kid at preschool, getting like a coffee, like walking with 2 of her friends at the mall, like going to Soho House briefly, like, and then picking the kid up from school and taking him to art class. Like that needs to be done in a certain level of mystique.
Let me ask you though. We're all very aware Marnie doesn't listen to this pod and will never hear this. But if she had heard you say that, would she like lean into that? Be like, "Fuck yeah, he's right."
Yeah, she does. She's like, yeah, I don't work.
Okay.
Although she is
Peasants.
helping me out with this jewelry course right now, so she will come in clutch when I need it. But but yeah, no, she's with it.
Has she read the E-Myth though? Because if not,
Yo,
But
yo,
reading-
we should do a pod on E-Myth. Not this
I
one.
haven't read it yet. It's
I'll
a classic though, right?
Yo, so my guy. All right, let's just
is this
touch on
in
this.
your end of your book thread?
No. So my guy Matt, who I know Oren knows at least tangentially, and James, you probably heard me talk about him. So he was E-Myth is the book, right? The husband and wife divorce. The husband keeps the book rights. The wife keeps the brand rights. The wife builds out or something like that. No, when they got divorced, they had the book business and the coaching business. The wife kept the coaching business. And so there's this entire E-Myth coaching thing that's like similar to like the coaching and info product world that we all know, that is essentially a cult. And so my good friend was in it for 5 or 6 years. 2 or 3 years ago, he like left it and went out on his own again as a business coach. But it is a batshit crazy coaching program for small businesses, all off the back of the E-Myth Books brand and name.
But it works, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's all like they're just accountability coaches, and there's like a ton of content, ton of PDFs and worksheets and all that stuff.
I do love. Listen, when I write a fucking more than 2 million syllable book, please both of y'all remind me to make my my author headshot.
Yeah, with the little top hat thing.
It's like a white fedora. Like that dude is retired. That man is fucking retired.
Yeah, he is definitely retired.
It's a Panama hat. Got it in Panama.
That is a Panama hat. That is a Panama hat. Good.
Yo,
Fucking
speaking of Panama, I was just reading about Captain Henry Morgan's taking of Panama City.
I was
in
wondering
the
when we were going to
1680s.
somehow parlay this into Colin is.
Yeah. All right,
If
can we
anyone's
break it down?
curious,
Was it just pillage, or was it more of a rape and pillage? What was
No,
the,
bro,
like,
this is like the crown jewel of like the Southern Hemisphere, and they in the Spanish Empire, and they took that shit with like a few thousand men.
yo, Colin is
with a few thousand men, honestly, you could do a lot.
Clearly,
you know what you should take a dive into, Colin. I'll find it for you after this, and I'm sure you can find a better book on it than this podcast. But there's a great podcast for everyone listening. Probably not the best. The best is probably Builders Build, but one of the better podcasts out there is also one called Behind the Bastards, and it literally just like takes famous people and like breaks down like what horrific monsters of humans they've actually been. And one of my favorite ones is a 2-parter. Each episode is like an hour and a half. Is about the Dutch East India Company.
Oh yeah,
and
Legends.
just like
yeah,
like on some. There was at one point where they were
also,
like controlling
the first publicly traded stock.
Yes,
Hey.
exactly, and worth like $2.5 trillion in today's dollars, the biggest company in the world. And to go along with that, this was a point in time when corporations could just have armies, like their own private fucking armies, and just run shit up.
They still do,
And-
brother.
And oh well, sure, in a different way. In a different.
No. They literally have like paid mercenary teams. This is
Oh, like a Blackwater, you mean, sort of vibe?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. But like works for Howard Schultz or whatever it is, right?
Sure. Or like in going through the Straits of Gibraltar, like, well, you're about to get fucking hijacked and shit, right? Like, anyway, one thing that they did that I remember from this pod I thought was amazing. Not amazing, it's horrific, but just wild. They were like controlling the nutmeg trade, right? And there were these 8 islands in Southeast Asia where like some of their competitors had discovered nutmeg, and they didn't have enough people to be able to stop the flow of nutmeg. So you know what they did? They were just like, burn them down, burn the fucking islands down, and they just sent out teams
so that nobody could have it.
So no one could have it, and just burnt down entire fucking islands. And then they also were like responsible for like the Great India Famine. I think they like 7 million Indians like starved to death in a 2-year period because they were basically like sharecropping, and they were just taking all their.
I was cool with the burn down the islands, but then
yeah, horrific shit, but worth.
No, I do think though, like if we were in one of those scenarios, like say for some reason I didn't have a family, I really had nothing to lose. You know, I was getting on, towards the end of my prime. I do feel like. The idea of, okay, we get 300-400 men and we go take Monaco. I genuinely think we could probably take it. You could infiltrate Europe. Overthrow the government. I think that's the kind of like, you got to wonder, what do you really aspire to? You know what I mean? Like you can make all the money you want, you can go all the nightclubs you want, but then being one of the men of this modern generation to put together another group of men and take a small country,
to take
like
Monaco.
The smallest of countries, a country that is 1 square mile.
Like Malta, or Monaco, these tiny.
Right. And well, Malta's
hot.
You have to approach from the sea.
You do, but Malta's hot because there's like so everyone who wants to figure out like sketchy tax things, everyone knows, or Lord knows, I've been trying to dive deep into ways to not evade taxes, but to avoid them by sort of different vehicles to put them into. And there's called a Malta retirement plan, in which they're trying to get rid of aggressively. It is used by the uber wealthy. And part of it becomes that you just never take your money out, because if you input over a certain amount of money into Malta, just like in, there's a lot of places like this, so you can just buy citizenship. You just become a fucking citizen of Malta. And you just fucking, when you're done.
What I wouldn't like about trying to take Malta is if you look at the streets. So A, you have to approach by sea. B, once you're in the streets, like fighting street to street, that's how islands work. Versus fighting in the plains of Monaco would be just terrible.
Yeah. So just like on a serious note, pirates. So
that wasn't serious.
Something that I learned here is that, and I may have gone down this rabbit hole on the previous pod. I can't remember, but basically,
go down again.
That like only the pirates, like really after the Captain Morgan era, were like the pirates that we think of. Morgan, Drake, these guys were commissioned by crowns. So they had papers that said England sent me, Spain sent me, and they were basically commissioned to do what they're doing. Their compensation for it was being able to rape and pillage and steal everything from the places they were conquering. And so Henry Morgan died like low-key an aristocrat of the English crown. He was the governor of Jamaica when he died, after 20 years of just being a maniac buccaneer is what they called him. Well, but like pirate was a bad word to him.
So I think what's also funny is this is a great example that just clicked for me now. I was like, God, I love the notes I'm taking for this pod, taking over Malta and Captain Morgan. But also just I love that like we're all such fucking weirdos that Colin's like pocket of knowledge is like he just reads tons of fucking books on like ships and pirates and shit.
Shipwrecks and pirates, baby.
But is that, history is definitely told by the victors, because I think it's pretty clear that like when you explain it like that, like half of the great explorers we can think of were just fucking like sketchy ass, like government funded pirates that were raping and murdering.
Yeah, totally.
And we're just like, oh, cool. Like you found like the West Indies, like excellent. Like now you're Christopher Columbus. Like that's cool. You know what I mean? And in reality, they're just like terrible fucking monsters. I guess that's pretty apropos of what 2022 is recognizing about a lot of people. And
which whomst amongst us is not a terrible monster? At the end of the day?
While we're here, the Port Royal earthquake of 1692. This is like the most gnarly earthquake on record in the Western Hemisphere. Like I don't know exactly when, but this earthquake, it was all sand, right? So people were just falling into the earth. Like there's a story of a guy who's standing in his shop and the earth opens up. He falls into a underground river, and then is shot out by a geyser like a mile away, and was like relatively unhurt. Also, that earthquake took out 70% of the population of Port Royal.
So, first of all, that's one of the craziest things I've ever fucking heard. All jokes aside, that's insanity. Second of all, before I forget, I did send you all the video of the 3-year-old holding onto the flag, to the kite, flying around? That shit was
No.
wild.
Oh, God.
I thought maybe it would have made you guys uncomfortable.
I didn't
Both
catch
young
that.
children, with like this little 3-year-old holding onto a kite 50 feet in the air, whipping around.
That's insane. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't watch that. Yeah.
But what was the thing that was really going to connect the two? Oh, I think that sometimes
nothing to connect this.
nothing to connect it to. I think sometimes I'm really blown away when, you say something like 70% of the population, like there are these weird, and obviously that's not a mass extinction event because that's just like of a singular place. But I think that sometimes I get reminded of, that reminds me of things like that during the last ice age, we went down to like 10,000 humans on the entire fucking planet. You know what I mean? like, or during the bubonic plague, like, oh no, a third of the planet, or the Spanish flu killed, like 200 years ago, 300 years ago, like a third of the planet fucking died. Like 1 in 3 people on Earth just died. Yep. And I think we just like live in this moment of, things were scary with the pandemic for a second. We live in this like moment of this peak of fucking humanity. At any moment, like just sheer chaos can, like, Yosemite goes. Both Colin in Portland, me in LA, and Oren in Orange County, we're all gone.
Yeah,
Yosemite goes, like a third of the United States just fucking is just gone.
Yo, on that note, like I was thinking about this with like climate change and everything that's going on right now, which is obviously crazy. But again, reading about ancient shipwrecks and similar topics. When the Mayflower landed, when the Mayflower landed in the United States, like 1620, those first 2 winters were like the coldest on record, and it's considered like a mini ice age. And this is like, this is like 400 years ago or whatever. But like it was way colder than it ever gets now, and then it has gotten in hundreds of years back then, which I thought was an interesting kind of like reminder that. Climate change, that was period.
Our Lord and Savior testing the pilgrims?
Almost. I think that's how they looked at it. Certainly.
Yeah.
I want to show you guys. I sent in the group chat. And by the way, do we just need to make another pod that's just no alpha, just us talking about fucking wild history shit?
We just
the books I've been reading,
People's History of the United States, and it's just
So look at in the group
Howard
chat.
Zinn, how easy.
Look at this, y'all. This is. Everyone who grew up in the United States has heard of Plymouth Rock, right? And so you think when you hear about Plymouth Rock, you're like, damn, this must be some wild-ass motherfucking rock. They sink the rock.
Just a rock.
Bro, it's like the size of my fucking desk, bro. It's just a tiny-ass fucking rock.
No, it's not a Plymouth boulder or Plymouth mound or even Plymouth Hill. It's merely a rock. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It just seems like a wild.
Yeah, but that's the boat that sunk that's the rock that sunk the Mayflower, bro.
Is that the story of Plymouth Rock? That's
they catapulted that shit.
No, quick. Santa? Pinto?
Santa Maria. You know what I'm saying? Gang. Which I want to do? You want to do Cortez? You want to do Pizarro? You want to do Lewis and Clark? You know what I mean? Yeah, you want to go spelunking in the caves?
If we're just going down this fucking tangent, I'm blown away. Like, I think I'm a tough dude, but imagine you like grab like a young 15-year-old girl and you're like, check it out. You're going to show me across America. We're just going to go. We're just grabbing Sacagawea, Lewis and Clark. We're going to just
and also, bro, just think about it back to the Alpha. Like, think about their investment portfolio from wampum alone. It's just like
wampum. God damn.
Not to mention
this is one of the most fun I've had in a pod. Second. I gotta start reading whatever Colin's reading. Fuck.
To wrap this convo, I'm doing a year-end, top books I've read in 2022 thread.
It's all Patrick O'Brien.
Nothing but shipwreck stories, pirate history.
Let's go.
I think we'll end with the purple book too for posterity.
Swag.
All right.